I wasn't supposed to be in the Billionaire's private wing. I was only there to fix a faulty lighting panel, nothing glamorous, nothing dramatic. But the moment I stepped into that silent hallway, something in me froze. A single portrait hung at the center of the wall, spotlighted like a shrine, and the woman in it was my mother. Same eyes, same smile, same tiny scar above her brow, the one she told me she got from falling off a bike at 12. My heart slammed so hard I thought the marble floor might crack beneath me. I whispered, barely breathing, "Mom?" That was when Richard Hale, the billionaire everyone in the city feared, appeared behind me. His face went pale, ghostly, like the past had just walked back into his house and demanded answers. "Harper," he said quietly, trembling, "I can explain, but you're not going to like the truth." I stood there, rooted to the polished marble floor, staring up at my mother's face like the universe had glitched. The painting wasn't small, not something you could ignore. It was massive, grand, the kind of portrait nobles commissioned back in the Victorian era. And my mom? She was a preschool teacher, a woman who budgeted coupons and packed my lunch in reused containers. She had never stepped foot in circles like this, never met billionaires, never been painted in gold trim. My voice cracked as I whispered, "What the hell is happening?" Behind me, I heard the soft, almost hesitant tap of shoes approaching. Then his voice, smooth, powerful, and trembling in a way I had never heard on TV interviews. "Harper, don't touch it." I snapped around. Richard Hale stood a few feet away, his usually composed face drained of color. His charcoal suit, perfectly tailored, suddenly looked too big for him, as if the man inside had shrunk. "Why is my mom in your house?" I demanded. "Why does she have a portrait here?" He swallowed, eyes flicking to the painting like it was a wound he was trying to avoid reopening. "I warned my staff to keep this wing locked," he muttered. "You weren't supposed to see it." Yeah, well," I shot back. "Your security system is trash. Harper." He took a careful step closer, hands raised slightly, not threatening but pleading. "Please. Just breathe." "No," I said, voice rising. "You tell me right now why my mom is hanging in your house like some forgotten queen." The hallway felt too small, the walls too close. The air thickened, tightening around my chest. Richard rubbed a hand over his face, looking suddenly decades older. "I didn't know she had a daughter," he whispered. My stomach dropped. "What?" He looked at me, then really looked at me, like he'd found something he'd been missing for years. "Harper, I knew your mother before you were born." My hands went cold. "That's impossible," I said, shaking my head. "My mom has never even mentioned you." His jaw tightened. "She wouldn't have." "Why not?" Richard turned away, placing a hand on the wall as if steadying himself. His shoulders rose and fell with a heavy breath. "Because what happened between us," he said quietly, "was buried on purpose." My heart hammered painfully. "Buried? Why? What did you do?" He flinched. "I didn't do anything," he said. "But someone else did, and your mother paid the price." "What price?" I demanded. He hesitated long enough to terrify me, then looked straight into my eyes. "Harper, your mother disappeared 26 years ago, and no one ever found out why." My blood went cold. "My mom never disappeared," I said. "You're lying." He shook his head. "I wish I was." The room tilted. I grabbed the nearest column to steady myself. Memories flashed, my mother never talking about her early 20s, dodging questions, changing the subject, smiling with a sadness she thought I never noticed. "Stop," I whispered. "Just stop." Richard's voice softened, but the tremor remained. "I never gave up looking for her," he said. "But I was told she died." My breath hitched. "Died?" Richard reached into his pocket, pulling out a small velvet box, old, worn, and fraying at the corners. He held it out to me with shaking hands. "This," he said, "was meant for her. The night she vanished." I stared at it, frozen. A ring box. A proposal. My mother and a billionaire? No, no way. But the fear in his eyes wasn't fake. And deep down, beneath the panic, a terrifying thought flickered. What if my whole life was built on a lie my mother never told? I didn't take the ring box. I couldn't. It felt radioactive in his hand, like touching it would burn straight through everything I believed about my mother. Richard held it out anyway, his fingers trembling. "Harper, please, open it." I backed away. "No. I'm not opening anything until you tell me exactly what you're trying to say." His jaw tightened. I'm trying to tell you the truth. Sid, you made it no. Then say it plainly, I said. Stop talking in riddles. Who was my mother to you? He inhaled sharply, the kind of breath someone takes before stepping into deep water. She was the woman I loved, he whispered. A punch straight to the gut. No, I said immediately. No, my mother never told me that. That's because she couldn't tell you. Why? Because of whatever this is? I gestured wildly at the portrait towering above us. Richard's eyes drifted to the painting soft, full of a pain I didn't recognize. She wasn't like the other people in my world. She was bright, untouched, real. I wasn't supposed to fall for her. I swallowed, throat tight. Then why did she leave? He flinched. That night, he said, voice low, I proposed to her. She said yes. We celebrated. And the next morning, she was gone. I stared, stunned. My mother left you the day after accepting your proposal? No. His voice cracked. She didn't leave me. She vanished. Vanished? The word tasted wrong. He nodded slowly. The security footage was wiped. Her phone was destroyed. Her belongings disappeared. And hours later, her family told my people to stop looking. My stomach lurched. Her family? He pressed his lips together, hesitation dripping from every muscle. Harper, someone didn't want us together. I felt the blood drain from my face. Someone? Who? And you think my mother just… what? Walked away and started a new life like none of it mattered? I don't think she walked away at all, he said. I think she was forced to. My voice shook. That makes no sense. Forced by who? Richard looked at me with eyes that carried 26 years of grief. Your grandmother, he said quietly. Evelyn Brooks. The air left my lungs. My grandmother's dead, I whispered. I know, he murmured. But back then, she was powerful and controlling, and she hated me. I stumbled back until my shoulder hit the wall. My grandmother? The same woman who sent me birthday cards with Bible verses? The woman who always told my mom she married beneath her? The woman whose name still made my mother tense? No, I said. No, my grandmother was strict, not violent. He shook his head. Strict doesn't erase a disappearance. Silence swallowed the hallway. My heartbeat sounded too loud in my ears. I whispered. If all this is true, then why didn't you ever come find her? His expression splintered. I did, he said. For years. But I was told she died in a car accident. They even sent a forged report. My whole body went numb. A forged report. A fake death. A vanished fiancé. And my mother, who refused to talk about her past, who never kept photos from her 20s, who panicked whenever someone asked about her family, who always looked over her shoulder like something might return for her. Suddenly, it all felt connected. I swallowed hard. If what you're saying is true, then my entire life is built on a secret. Richard stepped closer slowly, as if approaching a wounded animal. Harper, he said softly. Your mother didn't leave me. She was taken from me. A chill sliced through me. And now, he finished, I think the same people who did it back then know that you found this portrait. My blood turned to ice. Are you saying I'm in danger? He didn't blink. Yes. Richard's words echoed in my skull like thunder. Yes, Harper, you're in danger. Something cold slid down my spine. I fix lights for a living, I whispered. Who the hell would want to hurt me? Not you, he corrected. Your mother, and anyone who knows the truth about her past. I opened my mouth to protest, but then I remembered. The black SUV. The one I saw last week parked across from my apartment at 2 a.m. The one I thought belonged to some drunk neighbor's boyfriend. The one with the tinted windows and the engine that never turned off. A chill crawled across my arms. Richard, I said slowly, someone has been watching me. His jaw clenched. Describe it. Black SUV, Idaho plates. Same spot every night for the past week. He cursed under his breath, pacing a tight circle. That's not a coincidence, he muttered. Evelyn's estate had connections. Her siblings, their children, some of them still operate the old way. What old way? I shot back. He looked at me, face grave. The kind of family loyalty that ruins lives and buries people who step out of line. My throat tightened. You're saying my grandma's family might still be involved in whatever happened to my mom? Harper. The Brooks family was ruthless. They hid everything under money and influence. Your mother was the only one who ever rebelled against them. I shook my head. My mom? Rebel? She's terrified of confrontation. She apologizes to waiters when they mess up. That's not who she used to be. His voice softened. She was brave, fiery. She stood up to everyone, including Evelyn, and she paid the price for it. In everything's... My stomach twisted. You keep saying Evelyn did this, I whispered. But you haven't told me why. Richard exhaled long and slow, like this was the part he dreaded most. Because she didn't want your mother to marry me. That's not a reason to destroy someone's life. For Evelyn Brooks it was, he said bitterly. I wasn't born into the right circle. I was new money, a threat to their dynasty. Your mother choosing me was unforgivable. My pulse thundered. This doesn't feel real. It wasn't real for me either, he said quietly, until the night she disappeared. Silence wrapped around us heavy, suffocating. I finally croaked. So what do we do now? Richard's gaze hardened with a resolve that startled me. We find your mother, he said. We get answers. Together. My mom doesn't even talk about her past, I said. She shuts down the moment I bring it up. That's because she was traumatized and never healed. And what do you expect me to do? Go home and demand, hey mom, remember the billionaire you were once engaged to? She'll think I've lost my mind. Richard stepped closer. I'll go with you. I stared at him like he'd grown another head. You? My mother will faint if she sees you. She needs to see me, he said firmly. And we need to warn her that someone may be watching you both. I laughed short, sharp, scared. You expect her to believe that? She'll believe it, he said darkly. Because she's lived it. Before I could respond, Richard's phone buzzed violently in his pocket. He glanced at the screen, and his entire body stiffened. What? I demanded. What happened? He showed me the phone. A security alert from his mansion gate. A notification of a trespasser. Time stamped 5 minutes ago. My heart stopped. We're inside the mansion, I whispered. Who the hell is trespassing at the gate? Richard's face went cold. Not the gate, he said. His voice was barely audible. The alert is from the West Wing. This hallway. My breath caught in my chest. Footsteps echoed somewhere behind us. Slow, deliberate. Getting closer. Richard grabbed my wrist. Harper, stay behind me. What's happening? I whispered. His eyes locked on the dark end of the hallway. If it's who I think it is, he murmured. We're already out of time. The hallway lights flickered just once, but enough to send fear slicing right through me. Richard tightened his grip on my wrist. Harper, don't move. I could barely breathe. Who's here? He didn't answer. He was listening. The footsteps grew louder, steady, unhurried. Like whoever was approaching wanted us to hear them. Richard whispered. There's only one person who still has access to this wing besides me. Who? I whispered back. He didn't get the chance to respond. A tall figure turned the corner. I tensed instinctively, ready to run. Scream, something, anything. But it wasn't a masked man. It wasn't an assassin. It was a woman, elegant, poised, dressed in deep emerald silk. Like she'd stepped out of a world where danger was just a game. Her blonde hair was pinned in a perfect chignon. Her eyes, ice blue and razor-sharp, flicked over me with unsettling familiarity. She smiled, but it wasn't warm. It was surgical. Richard, she purred. You didn't tell me we had company. Richard's jaw locked. Evelyn. My blood ran cold. Evelyn Brooks, my grandmother's youngest sister, the one my mother never visited, the one whose name she wouldn't say out loud. She raised a brow at me. Harper Collins, she said smoothly. You look so much like your mother. The air shattered. I staggered back. You know my mother? Her smile widened, shark-like. I know many things your mother never told you. Why are you here? Richard snapped. Evelyn didn't even glance at him. She kept her eyes pinned on me, like she was examining a specimen under a microscope. I heard, she said, that a certain portrait was discovered tonight. Richard moved between us instantly. That painting is none of your business. Oh, but it is, she crooned. After all, I commissioned the artist. My breath caught in my throat. What? I whispered. Evelyn stepped closer, inspecting the portrait behind Richard's shoulder. Yes, I paid for this one. Many years ago. Why? I demanded, heart pounding. She looked at me then, and there was nothing soft in her eyes. Because your mother had value, she said, voice dipped in poison. A value she never recognized. A value I couldn't allow her to throw away on him. Richard's fists clenched. Evelyn, don't start this again. Is that what you told her? I shot back. That my mom was too good for him? So good you forced her to disappear? A flicker barely there crossed her face, a crack in the perfect mask. I did what was necessary, she said. You destroyed her life, I shouted. Evelyn tilted her head. No, dear. I protected her. Some people don't survive when they mix with the wrong bloodline. Like Richard? I snapped. Her smile thinned. You think he told you the full story? Oh, sweetheart. He told you his version. But your mother's story? That's something neither of you know. Richard stepped forward, voice low and dangerous. Evelyn, leave. But she kept talking like she enjoyed watching the two of us unravel. Do you want to know why your mother disappeared, Harper? She asked softly. Do you want the truth? My pulse hammered. Every instinct screamed yes, but something deeper whispered, don't trust her. I swallowed hard. Tell me. Evelyn leaned in so close I could see the faint lines at the corner of her eyes. Your mother, she whispered, wasn't taken. She wasn't kidnapped. She wasn't forced. She paused, enjoying every second. She ran. She ran from him, from you, from all of it. Richard exploded. That's a lie. Is it? Evelyn murmured. Or is it simply a truth you were too blind to see? Her gaze slid back to me, sharp as a blade. Harper, dear, your mother didn't vanish because of us. She vanished because of something you don't know yet. Something she hid even from herself. My hands shook. What did she hide? I whispered. Evelyn stepped back, her smile widening. Oh, I'll tell you. But not here. Not with him listening. She cast Richard one last venomous look. Come find me when you're ready for the truth. And then she turned calm, unbothered, and walked back down the hallway the same way she came. Her footsteps echoed long after she disappeared. I exhaled shakily. Richard. What the hell was that? His voice was low, furious. That, he said, was a warning. I swallowed. A warning of what? He looked at the portrait of my mother, pained, afraid. That Evelyn knows more, he whispered. And she's not done yet. The drive home felt unreal, like someone had folded reality and I'd fallen into the wrong version of my own life. The roads blurred, headlights streaking across my windshield as my mind spiraled. Evelyn's face, her voice, her cold smile when she said my mother ran, and Richard insisting everything she said was a lie. I didn't know who to believe. By the time I reached my apartment building, my hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped my keys. I pushed the door open. Mom? I called, heart pounding. She was sitting in the living room with a book in her lap but not reading it, just staring at a blank page. Her posture stiffened the moment she heard my voice. Harper, you're home late. Work trouble? I swallowed hard. No, not trouble. But we need to talk. She froze. Then she said the words I had dreaded since childhood. About what? About your past. The book slipped from her hand and hit the floor. Her eyes, usually warm, soft, went flat with fear. Harper. Don't, she whispered. Please don't do this. My throat tightened. Mom, I met Evelyn tonight. Every bit of color drained from her face. No, she breathed. No, Harper. Tell me you didn't talk to her. She was in the mansion, the West Wing, she said. I don't care what she said. The sudden volume made me jump. Mom pressed a trembling hand to her mouth, horrified at her own outburst. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't mean to raise my voice. Evelyn is dangerous. Then tell me why, I snapped. Tell me what she meant when she said you ran. She shut her eyes, pain carving deep lines across her face. Harper, I never wanted you to know any of this. Well, too late, I whispered. I saw your portrait. I talked to the man you were going to marry. I talked to Evelyn. Mom, I'm drowning here, and I need you to tell me the truth. A tear slipped down her cheek. She didn't wipe it away. I didn't run from Richard, she said softly. I ran from them. My breath caught. Who is them, Mom? She wrapped her arms around herself like she was freezing. The Brooks family, she whispered. Your grandmother, Evelyn, their brothers, their money, their power, their secrets. My heart pounded. What secrets? She hesitated, really hesitated before saying it. Harper, they had plans for me. Plans? I echoed. She nodded, voice trembling. I was never supposed to live my own life. They chose who I dated, who I talked to, where I studied. I was raised to be an asset, a tool, a bargaining chip. A chill gripped my spine. When I met Richard, she continued, everything changed. He wasn't part of their world. He wasn't someone they could control. I fell in love with him anyway, and that was the problem, I whispered. She nodded. Yes. When he proposed, I said yes. But the Brooks family, they didn't approve. They told me if I didn't end things, they would destroy him. I swallowed hard. So you left? Her voice cracked. No, I was going to run with him. We had a plan. We were leaving the country the next morning. Jesus. But that night, she whispered, something happened. Something I still don't understand. What happened? She shook her head. I remember getting into my car. Then, nothing. Not a second after. Just waking up days later in a clinic under a different name. No ID. No memory. No idea of who I was. My breath caught. You lost your memory? She nodded slowly. And when it finally came back years later, I kept quiet. I had you. I had a life. I was safe. Safe. The word stabbed me. And you never told me? She squeezed her eyes shut. I was afraid the past would find us if I spoke it aloud. My voice broke. Mom, it already has. Her eyes snapped open, wide with terror. Harper, what do you mean? I told her everything. The SUV, the portrait, Richard, Evelyn's sudden appearance. Her cryptic warning. By the time I finished, my mother was shaking so violently the couch cushions trembled. No, she whispered. No, no, Harper, we have to go. We have to leave tonight. Pack a bag. Don't ask questions. Just, Mom, stop. I grabbed her hands. We're not running. Yes, we are, she insisted desperately. We have to, before they come for. A loud knock pounded against the door. We both froze. Once, twice, 3 times. Slow. Deliberate. Not a neighbor. Not delivery. My mother's face turned ghost white. They found us, she whispered. The knocking didn't stop. 3 slow, deliberate strikes. Then a pause. Then 3 more. Each one felt like a hammer slamming into my ribcage. My mother gripped my wrist with a strength I didn't know she had. Harper, she whispered, voice cracking. We can't open that door. My pulse thundered. Mom, who is it? She shook her head violently. It doesn't matter. We're leaving. Now. Through the back. Another knock, louder this time, echoing down the hallway. Miss Collins, a man's voice called. We need to speak with you. My mother flinched. Oh God. No, no. Mom, I whispered. Do you know that voice? Her silence was my answer. I crept toward the peephole despite her grabbing my arm. Harper, don't. I looked. A man in a dark suit stood perfectly still in the hallway. Not angry. Not impatient. Just waiting. But his eyes, cold. Too calm. Eyes that looked practiced at being unbothered by fear or morality. He wasn't alone. A second man waited near the elevator, hands clasped behind his back like security detail. These weren't police. Not neighbors. Not anyone normal. My stomach twisted. The man at my door spoke again, calm, polite, rehearsed. Miss Collins, your presence has been requested. We would appreciate your cooperation. Requested. Not invited. Requested. My mom yanked me away from the door. Harper, listen to me. Her voice shook violently. If they take you, I will never see you again. My blood froze. Who are they? She grabbed my face in both hands, her nails digging into my skin. Brooks, she whispered. They're Brooks family security, the same type of men who took me the first time. The first time. It hit me like a punch. My mother wasn't exaggerating. This wasn't paranoia. This was survival instinct. I swallowed hard. What do they want with me? They want to leverage you, she whispered. And if they can't use you, they'll silence you. Evelyn never does anything without reason. Another knock, impatient this time. Miss Collins, the man called again. We know you're inside. Please open the door. My mother grabbed her phone with shaking hands, dialing frantically. Mom, who are you calling? Richard, she whispered. He's the only one who can stall them. He picked up immediately. I heard him say, Harper? Then my mother's trembling voice. Richard, they're here. They found us. Silence. Then Richard's voice hardened into steel. Do not open the door. I'm sending my men right now. Don't move. Another pound, this time a fist hitting wood. My mother gasped. They're forcing the lock. Richard heard it. I'm 5 minutes away. Hold on. The line went dead. My mother grabbed my arm. Back door. Now. We ran. But the moment she reached the kitchen, she froze. The handle on the back door was already turned halfway. Someone had tried it. My pulse skyrocketed. We're trapped, I whispered. Not yet, she said, scanning the room. Bathroom window. It's small, but we can fit. But before we could move, the front door lock cracked loud and sharp, like a bone snapping. My mother inhaled sharply. They're coming in. We sprinted to the bathroom. My mother shoved the window up with shaking hands. Harper, go first. No, you go. Harper, go. I climbed onto the counter, shoving my shoulders through the narrow frame. Then, footsteps pounded down the hallway. Too close, too fast. A man's voice barked. Bathroom, they're in the bathroom. My mother pushed me harder. Harper, move. I slid halfway through my torso outside, my legs still dangling in the bathroom. Then a hand clamped around my ankle. I screamed, grabbing the windowsill. Let her go! My mother yelled, clawing at the man's arm. Another voice barked. Take the girl. Leave the woman. My mother sobbed raw, terrified. No, take me instead. The grip tightened. My fingers slipped on the frame. Then suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the living room. A door slammed. Shouting erupted. Richard's voice roared from inside the apartment. Get away from her. The hand on my ankle froze, then released. My mother shoved me with all her strength. I tumbled out the window and hit the ground hard. Mom! I screamed. Run! She shouted. Run, Harper. More shouts. A struggle. Something crashing. I scrambled to my feet, chest heaving, vision blurring with panic. Then, I heard it. My mother's scream. Not sharp. Not loud. Just broken. Harper. And then, silence. My legs buckled. No. No. Mom! I reached for the window, and a gloved hand slammed it shut from inside. The lock clicked. My mother was inside with them. I staggered back, shaking violently. Richard burst out the front door moments later, wild-eyed and breathless, followed by 2 security men. Where is she? He demanded, grabbing my shoulders. Where's your mother? They took her. I choked out. Richard, they took her. He closed his eyes, jaw trembling with fury. Then he spoke the words that ripped through everything I believed about him. Harper. I know who took her. My breath hitched. Who? He met my eyes unblinking, resolute, broken. Your grandmother's family didn't just separate us, Harper. They built an entire system to keep her silent. He swallowed hard. And your mother wasn't the only one they took? Richard's words punched a hole straight through my chest. Harper, your mother wasn't the only one they took. My vision blurred. What does that mean? I whispered. What do you mean she wasn't the only one? He ran a hand through his hair, pacing, fury radiating off him like heat from asphalt. The Brooks family, he said tightly, has a history of disappearing people who threaten their control. A quiet, polished history no one talks about. Your grandmother wasn't just strict, she was a strategist, a gatekeeper. And she had allies, wealthy ones, dangerous ones. I shook my head, refusing the words. No. She was controlling, yes, but she wasn't. She was exactly that, he snapped. And her siblings were worse. A wave of nausea crawled up my throat. Your mother, Richard continued, was their biggest liability. She wanted to marry someone they didn't approve of. She wanted to live a life that didn't serve them, so they made sure she wouldn't. I pressed my hands to my temples. No. You said they thought she died. You said they forged reports. Why abduct her twice? What do they want now? Richard stopped pacing. His expression darkened. They want you. My mouth went dry. Me? Why me? Because you're the only thing they don't control, he said. You exist outside their records, outside their world. You're unpredictable. And you're the only evidence your mother survived what they did. My pulse hammered. But what do they want to do with me? He inhaled sharply. Leverage, silence, maybe both. Silence strangled the room. I could barely think. And my mother? I whispered. What will they do to her? Richard closed his eyes. They'll force her back into line. Or erase her again. It depends who's giving the orders. My legs buckled. He grabbed my arms, steadying me. Harper, he said urgently. Listen to me. I will get her back. I swear it. But we need to move now before they get her out of the city. How do you know where they'll take her? I asked. He hesitated just long enough to scare me more. Because, he said quietly, I've been there. My breath hitched. What? He swallowed, stepping back as if ashamed. Years ago, when your mother first disappeared, I tracked them. I found one of their properties outside the city. I tried to get in. They caught me and made sure I never returned. What do you mean they made sure? His jaw tightened. They beat me almost to death, Harper. Told me if I ever looked for her again, next time they wouldn't leave me breathing. I stared, horrified. And you never told anyone? I did. Police, private investigators. No one would touch the Brooks family. Money buys silence. My pulse pounded like gunfire. This is insane, I said. How is this even possible? How are they still doing this? Because they don't do it themselves, Richard said. They hire people. They use intermediaries. Nothing can be traced back to the Brooks name. A sharp pain stabbed behind my ribs. As if they're royalty, I whispered. He shook his head. No, they're worse. Royalty doesn't fear exposure. The Brooks family does. Before I could respond, his phone buzzed violently. He snatched it. Talk, he barked. A man's voice answered, rushed and breathless. Sir, we located the vehicle. Black SUV. Heading toward the old industrial district. My stomach dropped. How far? Richard demanded. 10 minutes ahead. Maybe less. I'm coming. He hung up and turned to me. We're leaving, now. I followed him down the fire escape, heart pounding so loud I could barely hear my own footsteps. Where in the industrial district? I asked breathlessly. There's an abandoned textile warehouse the Brooks family used years ago, he said. Completely off record. If they want privacy, that's where they go. And you think my mother is there? I know she is. We sped through the night in Richard's car, weaving through empty roads and flickering streetlights. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. Richard, I whispered. What if we're too late? His jaw flexed. We won't be. What if they hurt her? His eyes darkened. They won't. Not while I'm still breathing. I swallowed hard. Why now? I asked. Why take her again after 26 years? He gripped the steering wheel. Because you started asking questions. The realization hit me like a slap. This was my fault. I found the portrait. I confronted him. I confronted Evelyn. I stirred everything my mother tried to bury. I stared out the window, voice cracking. I dragged her back into danger. No, he said firmly. They put her in danger, not you. We turned onto a cracked, abandoned road. Shadows swallowed the car as warehouses rose around us like broken skeletons. Richard cut the engine. Heavy silence pressed down on us. Stay behind me, he said, pulling a metal baton from under his seat. My breath caught. You're going in there with that? He looked at me, eyes blazing with determination. I'm going in there with everything I have. He stepped out. I followed. The warehouse loomed dark, silent, terrifying. But as we approached, voices drifted from inside. Angry, panicked, muffled. Richard's jaw tightened. They're arguing. About what? I whispered. About you, he said. And your mother. I shivered. We reached the massive sliding door. It was cracked open just enough to see light inside. And then, I heard her, my mother. Her voice breaking with fear, shouting, "Leave her out of this, please!" I lunged forward, but Richard caught me. "Harper, no. She's in there," I cried. "And if you rush in, they'll use you against her." I froze, shaking. Inside, I heard a second voice. Evelyn, cold, controlled, cruel. "You ruined everything once," she snarled. "And now your daughter is doing it again. Neither of you understand what you were meant for." Richard's entire body went stiff. "She's here," he whispered. "Evelyn is inside." My throat tightened. "What do we do?" He took a step closer to the door. "We're ending this," he said. His voice dropped to a low, dangerous whisper. No more lies, no more secrets, no more Brooks family control. My heart slammed wildly inside my chest as he pulled the door open. The truth wasn't just waiting inside. It was ready to destroy us. Richard slid the warehouse door open only a few inches, enough for us to slip inside. A sliver of harsh fluorescent light cut across the dusty floor. My heart raced. My legs trembled, but I stepped forward anyway. The inside of the warehouse was vast, hollow, its old steel beams groaning with the night wind. But at the center, under a lone hanging lamp, stood my mother, surrounded by 3 men in dark suits. Her wrists were bound behind a metal chair. Her hair was disheveled. Her breath came in sharp, uneven gasps. And standing directly in front of her, calm, pristine, perfectly composed, was Evelyn Brooks. Her emerald dress glimmered like poison in the harsh light. "You always were stubborn," Evelyn said coldly. "You threw away everything. And for what? Love? Freedom? Things you were never meant to have." My mother spat weakly. "You took my freedom." "No," Evelyn corrected. "We saved you from ruining the family." Richard stepped beside me. His voice was ice. "Step away from her, Evelyn." Evelyn turned, unimpressed. "Richard Hale," she said with a smirk. "The fool who still thinks love conquers everything." Richard clenched the baton in his hand. "And you're the monster who thinks she can decide who deserves to live." The atmosphere snapped thick, electric, seconds from exploding. Evelyn raised a brow. "You broke in here without thinking, as usual. Do you ever consider consequences?" "I considered all of them," he said. "And none of those consequences are worse than letting you hurt her again." I couldn't stand still anymore. I stepped forward. "Where's your justification now?" I demanded. "Kidnapping my mother? Sending men to my house? Trying to take me too?" Evelyn's smile faded. "You were never supposed to know," she said sharply. "You were supposed to live your life quietly, without digging into things that don't concern you." "My mother concerns me," I snapped. "Not the version she let you see," Evelyn countered. "Not the version she fabricated." My pulse spiked. "What does that mean?" Evelyn's eyes glittered. "You want the truth, Harper? The truth your mother never told you?" My mother's voice cracked raw, terrified. "Harper, don't listen to her." "No," I said, cutting her off. "I'm done with half-truths." Evelyn stepped closer, savoring the moment. "Your mother didn't run because she loved Richard," Evelyn said. "She ran because she committed a crime." My brain stuttered. "What crime?" My mother shook her head wildly. "No, Harper, she's lying." But Evelyn continued. "She leaked information from within the Brooks circle to Richard," Evelyn said with venom. "Information that could have brought down everything the family built. She gave him access to documents worth billions, documents that could have toppled us." Richard froze. "What documents?" Evelyn smirked. "Oh, don't play innocent. She stole the ledger for you. Or did you really not know?" Richard stiffened. "I never received anything from her." Evelyn tilted her head mockingly. "Then you were even more useless than I thought." I shook my head, disbelief and nausea swirling inside me. "No, my mom wouldn't do that. She wouldn't betray her family." "She didn't betray her family," Evelyn said. "She betrayed me. I was the one who protected her, groomed her, raised her." My mother's voice erupted, broken with fury. "You controlled me, manipulated me, used me like a pawn in your political games." Evelyn's smile was gone now, replaced by pure, cold rage. "You were born to serve a purpose," Evelyn hissed. "And when you decided you were above that purpose, you became a liability." She turned to me. "And liabilities must be removed." My stomach churned. "You didn't just try once," I whispered. "You tried twice. You tried tonight." Evelyn shrugged slightly, as if discussing a business expense. "And I'll try again if necessary." That broke something inside me. "You touch her again," I said, my voice shaking with fury, "and I swear I'll make sure the world knows exactly what you've done." Evelyn's lips curled. "You think anyone will believe you? A nobody? A technician? A girl with no influence?" Richard stepped forward, eyes burning. "She's not nobody." "Really?" Evelyn sneered. "Because the last time you stood up to us, you almost died." Richard didn't flinch. "That was then. Nothing has changed," Evelyn spat. Richard looked at her like she was already defeated. "Everything has changed," he said. "Because this time, she's not fighting alone." He nodded toward the shadows behind Evelyn. And suddenly, 5 men in tactical gear emerged into the light. Richard's private security team, armed and deadly serious. Evelyn's eyes widened. "You brought your own mercenaries into my facility?" "It's not your facility," Richard said. "And you abducted an innocent woman." One of the guards stepped forward. "We recorded everything, the kidnapping, the threats, Enough evidence to bury you and your entire operation. I ended to and like and work it. Evelyn stiffened. You wouldn't dare. Richard's voice boomed. Try me. For the first time, Evelyn faltered. Her power, her confidence dissolved in seconds as the men surrounded her. Her hands trembled. Her mask cracked. No, she whispered. No, you don't understand. Harper must not know. I already know, I said. I walked to my mother, loosening the ropes around her wrists. Her skin was red and bruised. She winced as I freed her hands, but she reached for me instantly, pulling me into a shaking embrace. Oh, Harper, she sobbed. I'm so sorry. I should have told you. I should have warned you. I held her tightly. Mom, none of this is your fault. Richard stepped closer, gently touching my mother's shoulder. You're safe now, he whispered. I won't let them touch either of you again. Evelyn stared at us, rage, fear, disbelief swirling in her eyes. You think you've won? She hissed. Richard didn't even look at her. We didn't win, he said. We survived. The security team escorted Evelyn and her men out, resisting, hissing, swearing vengeance but powerless. For the first time in my life, I watched a Brooks fall. My mother collapsed against my chest, sobbing quietly. Richard crouched beside us, voice soft. We're going home. I nodded. But something inside me had shifted forever. The truth hadn't freed me. It had scarred me, but it also forced me to choose who my real family was. Not blood, not wealth, not legacy, but the people who would risk everything to protect me. And for the first time in my life, I knew exactly who those people were.